Start to practice the habit of remembering. In our day and age, in our world today, there is just so much information right at your fingertips. ChatGPT, Google, whatever you want to figure out, whatever you want to find out, whatever you want to do research on, you can literally do it in an instant. And while these are great things, and I even use them myself, it is making life so overwhelming, so complicated, and you are just beginning to overthink everything. And so we need to be reminded more than we need to be taught. In life in general, you are taught certain things at a young age. You are taught how to dress, how to behave, how to eat, how to do all of these different things. And we are starting to lose the basics in life by always overcomplicating shit. Life is simple, but we make it hard. We make it difficult by overcomplicating, by overthinking things, okay? So this is why you need to start to begin the practice and the habit of remembering, okay? Remembering who you are, remembering where you want to go, remembering your goals. These are all the things that I'm going to teach you guys today in this video so you can begin to actually live a more simple and fruitful life, right? You want to live a life that is fruitful, that is peaceful, that is simple. You don't always want to be overwhelmed, overcomplicating, and overthinking things that don't really matter that much, okay? So that is what I'm going to break down for you guys today, and let's get right into it. So when it comes to practicing the habit of remembering, there's a multitude of ways and things I could take this video. We could talk about remembering the proper diet, remembering the proper training, remembering how to wake up, remembering how to brush your teeth. So many different ways how I could take it, but I want to keep it high level for you guys and talk about the changes that I made in my life that I think had the most profound effect. So obviously when it comes to remembering, you need to use your memory. You need to think about certain things on a day-to-day basis. But the number one most important thing, and where to start for all of you guys, is to remember to think positively. Remember in every situation to think positively, right? In life, there's going to be challenging situations. There's going to be unpleasant sounds. There's going to be unpleasant things that pop up into your life every single day. And it's not necessarily about what you do, but how you react to those things, okay? 90% of life is how you react, how you respond. And the other 10% is what happens to you. Okay, so remember to think positively in every situation, okay? And the reason why you want to do this is because our thoughts come back to us like a boomerang. So whatever you put out into the universe, whatever you put out into the world is exactly what you are going to receive. That same energy, everything in life is energy. So if you're always emitting negative energy, negative life force, negative everything, then what you are going to receive back is negative. Okay, so you want to start thinking positively because that is what is going to come back into your life if you do so. As a man thinketh, so is he. So you have to start to think positively. Every situation, okay? Everything that happens in life, it's an opportunity for you to learn a lesson or for you to gain momentum to keep going. Okay, so when difficulties arise, when challenges arise, think about the character it is developing within you. Think about what it is doing for you, right? Everything happens in life for a reason. Even if it might be happening and you're like, why in the hell is this happening, right? There is a reason behind it. It could be teaching you a lesson. It could be building your character. It could be building patience. It could be building something that you need in the future to get to where you want to go, but you are just so blind to it and you emit negative energy from it that you ultimately lose the lesson and you lose the positive thing that could have came about from that situation. Okay, so that is why it's very important to start to think positively, but not only that, think about the good that you've done, right? Think about the things that you've done that have been good, that have been positive, whether it's for yourself, whether it's for other people, whether it's for a sport, a team, your fitness, your diet, whatever it is. Focus on things that are positive in your life and things that you've done that are positive, okay? So think about the good you've done when it comes to this. And this is so important because in life, you need to focus on the positive and block out the negative, right? There are going to be situations, there's going to be difficulties, there are going to be challenges, right? And confidence is a great way to overcome those challenges, to overcome those difficulties. And confidence is derived from competence, right? You need to be competent to be confident. So some of the times you are competent, you are confident, right? You have the ability to do something, right? You've talked to a girl before. You've gone to the gym before. You've ate good food before. You've gone on bed on time before, right? You've done the right things in the past before. And so you just need to remember that. You need to remember you had the ability to do that. You had the competence at a certain point in life. So think about the good you've done. Think about the competence and the confidence that you've been able to gain from the good that you've done, okay? That is so important, is to remind yourself of who you are sometimes. Like, you have the ability to get things done. You have the ability to do things. You have the ability to do amazing things and be super powerful, but you just forget that, right? You just get caught in the daily life. You get caught into your work. You get caught into your responsibilities, and you forget about the great things that you've done in the past. And then if you're never thinking about that, if you're never having any, remembrance of that, you're going to forget your level of competence. You're going to forget your level of confidence. You're going to forget who you are, right? And a lot of the times you might need to go out into the world and start to do stuff to accomplish things to get that confidence. But a lot of you guys have done great things. A lot of you guys probably have done more great things than I have, right? But you forget that and you get caught into the daily life and the spider web of daily life, and it just brings you down and pulls you down. Okay, so you need to remember who you are and the good you've done and the good that is in your life already, right? If you only focus on your present lack, if you only focus on what you don't have, then that is just going to be reflected right back at you. As a man thinketh, so is he. As the call, so the echo, right? Your thoughts are a boomerang. And so what you need to focus on is emitting that positive energy. Focusing on who you want to be, where you want to go, the good things you've done in the past, and using that as a stepping stone to get to who you want to be. That is what it's about. Remembering to think positively and then think about the good you've done. You've done something good in your life. There's something good in your life. There is something you could be grateful for, right? Maybe your apartment isn't the nicest, but it keeps you in at night, right? It protects you from all the elements outside, the cold, the wind, the rain, right? It allows you to cook food. It gives you a place to shower, right? You have a car. It might not be the nicest car, but it gets you to where you need to go, right? You might not go to the nicest gym, but it allows you to work on your health and fitness. There is so much good in your life, but you just keep denying, right? You have good in your life right now while you're sitting here watching this video, and you don't even realize it, okay? So focus on the good and the things that you've done and the positive in every situation, especially the challenging ones. Especially then, because the challenging situations and the difficult ones are when you grow the most. Think about it. When you have a workout you don't want to go to, you don't want to do, and then you do it, that is when you get the most better. That is when you achieve the most. That is when you see the most growth. Okay, so every situation and challenging one is an opportunity to overcome and get better. The habit of remembering to think positively in every situation is so important. And whenever difficult situations arise, when you want to get angry, when you want to crash out, when you want to be upset, remember to think positively. Remember to think about what that situation is teaching you. What lesson are you gaining from it? You never know if a certain situation might have been protecting you from something way worse. You really never know. And so you have to start to think positively in every single situation. And also remember that every situation, everything is eventually going to pass. It's eventually going to go away, okay? So remember to think positively and remember to think, what is it teaching me? How is it helping me build momentum? It's either a loss or a way to build momentum and to keep going, okay? So after that, what I need you guys to start to do is when there's situations where you're feeling urges, where you're feeling temptations, when you're feeling strong desires, or when you're feeling like you want to be lazy, when you want to procrastinate, you have to remember who you are and what you want to accomplish, okay? There's so many times in my life where I have gotten to this fork in the road, where I've gotten into a decision, into a choice, right? Maybe I've been doing good, been on the right path, making the right choices, making the right decisions, but eventually that urges, those feelings, they catch up to you, right? And you eventually get to a point, into a decision where you need to go either into your old self or into the person you want to be, right? So that is why you need to always remember who you want to be and where you want to go, right? Because those situations and those challenges and those decisions are always going to arise, right? Okay? And a prime example for me when I succumbed to this is for about 4 months, I hadn't been drinking. I was really focused on my fitness, focused on my diet, doing the right things, right? And there was a time when I got into this fork in the road. I was out with some friends. It was a friend's birthday. It was Thanksgiving week, right? Chill week. And what was happening was everyone around me was drinking, and everyone was encouraging me to drink, right? Just have a drink, one drink. I'll pay for your drinks. I'll buy your drinks all night. But drink, just drink with us, right? And so eventually I succumbed to that pressure. And it felt like there was this fork in the road. I had been doing really good. I'd been the person that I wanted to be. And so I got to this fork in the road and I had to make a decision, right? Either to not drink, which I had been doing, which was fine, or to drink, even though there was more pressure, more people, more things around me, right? And so what I did was I went back to my old self. And there's going to be times when this happens to you too, when these decisions, when these choices come up, right? When there's people around, when there's a situation that might make you want to fall into sin or do the right thing, okay? And it's going to be hard. It's going to be the difficult one. It's going to be difficult to do the right thing. It's going to be a challenge, right? People might not like you in it in the moment, okay? But this is when you remember who you are and what you want to accomplish and what your goals are, right? There are going to be times when you want to go out, when you want to drink, when you want to talk to girls, when you want to watch porn, when you want to jack off. There are going to be times, and the urges might be super strong. The temptations might be super high. This is when you need to remember who you want to be, what you want to accomplish, and what your goals are. Okay? Because without that, you're going to fall. You're going to succumb. Right? And in that moment of me falling into drinking again, I succumbed. And I forgot who I wanted to be, where I wanted to go, and what I wanted to do. And then next morning, I woke up. I was super hungover. I didn't work out. I didn't get anything done. And it was just a dumb decision, all from one dumb decision and me forgetting who I am and where I want to go and who I want to be, right? It's not a big deal. It was one night. But remember that every situation, every choice is ultimately on you. You have the power to do the right thing. And there's going to be times when it might be very, very difficult and very, very hard to do the right thing. And that is when you need to remember who you want to be and where you want to go, what you want to accomplish, what your goals are. A lot of these things and a lot of this stuff is just us forgetting. We forget who we want to be. We forget where we want to go. We forget what we want to accomplish. And then we succumb to the dumb shit, right? Always remember, whether you have to post it on a sticky note, post it on your bed, post it wherever, on your phone, right? Remember who you want to be and where you want to go, and then take the action steps to get there. Obviously, it's very important to remember who you want to be, to remember where you want to go, to remember what you want to accomplish. So when those temptations, when those urges, when those desires arise, you make the right choice. You make the right decision, because they will arise. And it might be very difficult. It might be very, very challenging. And it might feel like the right thing to do is actually the wrong thing to do. But you have to remember who you are, where you want to go, and what you want to accomplish. So when those situations arise, you make the right decision. Okay? Now, the next thing in number 3 is that in life, everything is interconnected. Everything is one. We are all one with life. We are one with the universe. We are one with each other. Okay? And so it's very important to remember that there is a bigger purpose for everything. Okay? Remember that there is a bigger purpose, right? Now, I kind of touched on this a little bit in the front, where you should think every situation in a positive light. But remembering that there's a bigger purpose is so important, because this is gonna, fuck, I don't know, what is it gonna do? So when those situations arise, when it gets difficult, when it gets challenging, when there's temptations, when there's urges, when there's desires that arise within you, it's going to be very difficult to do the right thing. And this is when you need to remember who you are, remember where you want to go, and remember what you want to accomplish. But something that's even greater than that, something that's even more important than that, and beyond just who you are, is that everything in life is interconnected. We are all one. We're one with each other. We're one with nature. We're one with the universe. We're one with animals. We are one with everything. Okay? And so you have to remember that there is a greater purpose than you. There is a universal purpose. Okay? And that is what you need to put primary and put focus on it. And I mentioned this in point number 1, is that you need to think every situation in a positive light. And that comes from having the understanding that there is a universal purpose. Okay? So that is what you need to remember. Remember, there is a universal purpose in life, and your universal purpose can be different from mine. I don't know what it is. That is only for you to figure out. That is only for you to find out. And a lot of it is you becoming conscious of who you are, conscious of the decisions you're making, conscious of either you making life into a great place or making life into a worse place, right? Remember that there is always a universal purpose, right? In everything. So when situations seem to not go your way, to not get what you want, remember that there is a reason and a purpose behind it. Everything happens for a reason, and I know this is very cliche, but it is so true. And once you have this understanding and you have this mindset that everything is going to happen for a reason, like, then you can actually start to do the right things. Then you can actually see what is going on in the script that is unfolding and start to live with it instead of trying to just go against the grain, go against the grain, go against the grain, right? You're not going to be able to go against the grain and win against the world. It is impossible, right? So you have to remember in yourself that there is a universal purpose and that you are one with life. Stop trying to go against life. Stop trying to fight life. You're not going to win that fight. You're going to lose, right? You are just a tiny human. You are one of 7 billion, right? And life is the thing that makes all. It's the creator. So stop going against life, right? And you are going against life by cursing what is happening to you, by being negative, by being in a bad mood for no reason at all, right? There's situations and there's challenges and there's difficulties, but they're not good or bad, right? They might be teaching you something. They might be helping you, right? You never know what is happening that is teaching you a lesson, and that everything happens for a reason. So many of the people who have gone through the hardest things and a lot of hardship talk about on the other side of that is what made them strong. That is what gave them the character. That is what helped them get to where they want to go, right? And the example I'll give is like, would you trust a captain who's never flown a plane, who's never rowed a ship, who's never done anything, who's never been in a difficult situation? No. You trust someone who's gone through it, right? The greater the story, the greater the hero. The more challenges he had to overcome, the greater character he developed and the greater person that he is because of those challenges. Okay, so you have to keep that in mind, and that remember that there is a universal purpose. So when things get hard, when things get challenging, to keep going, to keep pushing, right? And to stop going against life, to go with life. It's teaching you, it's helping you, it's putting you in a situation, it's getting you somewhere, right? So often we have this grand scenario, this grand plan that things are going to work out exactly how we plan it. That is not going to happen. It never does, right? And then we miss amazing opportunities right in front of our face because it's not a part of our plan, right? The plan is the universe's plan. The plan is the world's plan. And it just gave you an opportunity. And because it's not part of your plan, which doesn't matter, you didn't go with it, right? A lot of the time we just go against life. We go against grain. And if we go with life and we are one with our universal purpose, if we go with the opportunities, right? So many great things and great doors will open up for you. But if you keep going against the grain, going against what life is telling you and what life wants you to do, you're just always going to be floating in the wrong direction and you're going to drown. Okay? So remember that there is a universal purpose, and life is only trying to help you and teach you and get to that purpose to make it one with everything around you. For the final thing, when it comes to practicing the habit of remembering, there is an NBA player by the name of Kevin Durant. And every time Kevin Durant scores the basketball, he points to the numbers 35 because that was the age of his coach when he died. Okay, and so Kevin Durant, he has a why. He has a bigger reason as to why he plays the game, as to why he competes, as to why he's been in the league for 19 years, still getting buckets. And that's the final thing for you to remember, is to always remember your why. Remember why you are doing it. It is bigger than you, okay? We talked about there being a universal purpose, but also remember that you have a purpose that is bigger than you. You have a why that is greater than who you are. Whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, whether it's a group of people, it doesn't matter truly what it is. Remember your why. It could be literally anything, but it has to be bigger than just yourself, okay? It could be for God. It could be for doing stuff for the glory of God, but always remember your why. That is the most important thing when things get difficult, when you want to quit, when you want to give up, when you want to let go. Remember your why and remember that it's bigger than you. If you have kids, if you have responsibilities, These are all things that can be your why. It could be literally to make enough money to be able to help a certain group of people out. It could literally be to make content to help a certain person out. It could be for one specific person. It could be for one family member. It doesn't matter, but you have to have something. You have to have something. Remember your why and that it's bigger than you. Okay? If you are only focusing on yourself and you're starting with the self, you are not putting the bigger picture in front of you. So when it gets hard, when it gets difficult, you ultimately are going to crumble because you're only relying on yourself, right? You have to have a bigger motivation. You have to have something greater than you to keep you pushing, to keep you going. Because a man's life is challenged, it's hard, it's difficult. You need something bigger than you to keep you going, okay? It's bigger than you. And the greater the struggle, the better the story. Okay? So when it gets hard, when the struggle is great, remember what the story is going to be. Remember how you're going to help whoever. Remember how you're going to be the hero of the story. Okay? So always remember your why and that it's bigger than you. Okay? For me, my why is to be able to help as many men as humanly possible get into the best shape of their life and to free themselves from their mind and from their addictions. That is my why. That is why I want to make these videos and why I want to help people and why when I get lazy, when I don't have the motivation, I still do it anyways because there's a bigger purpose and there's people relying on me. Even though I only have like 100 subscribers, that does not matter. Those are 100 people that I can help. Okay? So think about your why, write it down, put it somewhere on your phone, above your bed, on your refrigerator where you can see it every single day. And remember that it's always bigger than you. There's a bigger reason for why you do things than just you. Okay? And so if you want to figure out what that reason is and you want some help getting into the best shape of your life, click the link in the bio, book a one-on-one call with me, and I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.